Kale sidestepped, the motion smooth and deliberate, letting the beast's first swipe cut through empty air. The wind from the strike rattled leaves behind him, and he could almost hear the whoosh in his real ears despite the full sensory override. He rolled, pivoted, and slashed with the battered bronze short sword. The blade barely scored the creature's hide, a pale line in the darkness before it faded. As expected. Physical attacks alone would not cut it. He knew this mob's patterns like a well-rehearsed dance: 3 lunges, a feint, then a shoulder bash designed to knock players off balance. Kale deliberately let the shoulder hit him, twisting with the impact to roll back into a crouch. His health bar dropped by a sliver, manageable. The beast growled and stalked forward again, crimson eyes narrowing. Its breath was a mix of damp moss and something metallic, blood maybe. Kale's gaze flicked to the edges of the misty clearing. Thick roots jutted out of the ground like jagged teeth. If he could bait it into charging, the next lunge came fast. Kale feinted left, then bolted right at the last second. The beast's claws tore into one of the exposed roots, momentarily snagging. Kale used the opening to leap forward, blade aimed for the creature's eye. The impact was satisfying. There was a sharp crack, a flare of red light, and the nightshade beast roared in pain. Critical hit. Blind inflicted, duration 6 seconds. 6 seconds is all I need, Kale muttered. He pressed the attack, striking in rapid succession, not for damage, but to force the beast backward toward the treeline. Each strike shaved tiny slivers off its health bar, but more importantly, he kept it from regaining footing. When the blindness ended, the beast's fury was palpable. It lashed out in a flurry of swipes, forcing Kale to retreat. One hit grazed his arm, cutting deeper into his HP than he liked. Health, 62%. The third lunge came right on time. Kale sidestepped, and as the beast passed him, he slashed across the tendon of its hind leg. The movement slowed. Not enough to cripple, but enough to make the next move work. He darted to the anvil-shaped rock at the clearing's edge, a landmark few players would notice. From here, he pivoted sharply, tossing a small pebble toward the beast's right side. The AI was not smart enough to ignore the distraction. It turned, exposing its flank. Kale's next strike went deep. The beast staggered, HP bar dipping into the red. A final roar echoed through the mist before it collapsed into a puff of dissolving shadow. Loot acquired: Spirit Beast hide ×8 Nightshade Fang ×1 Umbral Chi Fragment, rare, ×1 Kale crouched, eyes narrowing at the last item. The shard pulsed faintly, a fragment of concentrated shadow chi. To most players, it was vendor trash, worth some gold, maybe. To him, it was the key quest unlocked: Legacy Path, Shadow Forge Initiation Hidden Quest, Speak to the Shadow Anvil in Nightfall Hollow. He glanced at the dark anvil nestled in the glade's far corner. To anyone else, it would look like part of the scenery, just another environmental asset. But Kale knew it was one of the oldest interactive objects coded into Eternal Nexus. The developers had hidden it behind a chain of rare drops and obscure spawn points years ago. By the time most players discovered it, they were too high level to pass the initiation trial without failing. This was his moment. He approached the anvil, the mist thickening as if the world itself disapproved. The closer he got, the more the game's ambient sounds dulled: no wind, no rustle of leaves, no distant monsters. Just silence and the faint hum of the object itself. Interact with Shadow Anvil? Y/N. Kale pressed Y. Black tendrils of chi snaked from the anvil, wrapping around his arms. A deep, resonant voice echoed, not from the game's NPC files, but from somewhere older, more primal. You seek the path of the Shadow Forge. Your hands will shape death, and your weapons will drink the light. But first, prove you can master the dark without being consumed by it. The world dissolved around him, replaced by a pitch-black forge chamber. Shadows moved like living smoke, coiling and twisting into vaguely humanoid shapes. Trial start: Shadow constructs destroyed. 0/10 Kale's battered bronze sword vanished, replaced by a crude shadow-forged dagger, its blade flickering like a dying flame. He had no armor, no skills, just this weapon and his knowledge. The first construct lunged. Kale met it head-on, dagger sinking into its chest. Unlike the Nightshade beast, these enemies dissolved instantly, leaving behind sparks of shadow that drifted into the dagger's hilt. Weapon empowerment, +1 by the fifth kill, the dagger's flicker had become a steady glow, its strikes carving through constructs faster. But the enemies grew quicker too, some attacking in pairs. Kale adjusted, using footwork to keep one between himself and the other. At kill number 8, a larger construct emerged, taller than him, with a jagged blade for an arm. It charged without pause. Kale ducked under the first swing, letting the blade scrape sparks from the stone wall. His counter-strike took the thing's leg, sending it crashing to one knee. The finishing stab sent its form collapsing into smoke. The last two constructs came together. Kale pivoted, letting their swings cross paths before stabbing both in a single, precise motion. Trial complete. You have been granted the Legacy class, Shadow Forger. Passive skill unlocked, Umbral Chi Manipulation, Rank 1, . Weapon granted, Shadow Forged Dagger, Growth Weapon, . The chamber faded, and Kale was back in the clearing. The anvil's glow dimmed, as if satisfied. Global announcement, player Kale Vera has unlocked the first Legacy class of patch 12.0, Shadow Forger. Class guide now available on the public database. Kale smirked. That last line was a joke, sure, the database entry existed now, but it did not tell players how to replicate what he had done. He had made sure the quest triggers were as obscure as possible. Then the announcement shimmered. For half a breath, a second line ghosted beneath the public text. Unclassified resonance detected. Legacy path imprint retained beyond avatar boundary. It vanished before the whispers arrived. Kale did not move. The game had never spoken like that before. Already, private messages were flooding in. Whisper, Iron Claw. Yo, Kale, name your price for that unlock path. Whisper, Seraphim, join our guild, we will power level you in exchange for info. Whisper, Aaron Vallis did not think you would crawl back. Let us see how long you last this time. Kale closed the inbox without answering. Let them wonder. He turned back toward the forest's deeper shadows. The path ahead was dangerous, but the first step was his. Round 2, he murmured, sliding the dagger into his belt, let us make it count. The mist swallowed him whole.